The Green Party has a new leader. Zack Polanski's landslide victory has the potential to be a watershed moment for the party, representing a stark shift from the local approach that has seen them climb to 4 MPs with remarkably little corresponding fanfare. Mr. Polanski, on the other hand, is unapologetically on the populist left and seems poised to fill the leadership vacuum vacated by Jeremy Corbyn in 2020. There is one problem, however, one major rival to fill Mr. Corbyn's boots, and that's Jeremy Corbyn himself. So if you're a budding young socialist, ready to take the fight to reform UK, Nigel Farage and the Labour government, do you join the Judean People's Front or the People's Front of Judea? Under first past the post, divided ideologies fail. For Mr. Polanski to find success in 2029, then, there are only a few routes available. The first is probably his preference, that his bold style of communication proves a hit with young progressive voters, and he carves out a name for himself as the voice of left-wing politics in the UK. More likely is that some form of electoral pact with your party, the unnamed project led by Jeremy Corbyn and Zarah Sultana, will be necessary. The comparative performances of the Conservative Party in 2019 and 2024 should provide ample illustration of what happens when voter bases become split between parties. On that topic, Nigel Farage's recent coup is that he has finally garnered sufficient popularity to become the default voice on the right. This is the position Mr. Polanski will attempt to occupy on the left. With the pre-existing popularity of Jeremy Corbyn, this may prove rather difficult. Polanski makes no apologies that he will attempt to learn from Nigel Farage's model of success, central to which is the art of storytelling. Under his leadership, the Greens will attempt to connect with people's anger, utilising a firebrand style of eco-populism focused on genuine solutions rather than the perceived briefcase politics of Keir Starmer's Labour. That is a far cry from the softly approach that has seen the Greens surge across the leafy shires of Conservative England. Unfortunately, whether his strategy wins him votes, Polanski's leadership will ultimately be judged on whether it wins him seats. Broad support from young voters across the country is unlikely to be successful in that regard, whereas the Liberal Democrats have recently pioneered a hyper-local electoral machine that has seen them convert very little nationwide enthusiasm into masses upon masses of seats. Far be it from me to condone the gamification of our system, but it is a sad reality that the Greens will have to learn to manage our system's iniquities if they are to be successful within it. As a side note, to put into perspective just how successful the Liberal Democrats' local strategy has been, prior to entering the coalition in 2010, they won 57 seats with 6.8 million votes, whereas in 2024 they snatched 72 with just 3.5 million. Whilst economic policy and the war in Gaza provide very little distinction, for now at least, one area in which Polanski will seek to distinguish himself and his Greens from your party is on trans rights. Polanski has placed himself firmly behind the trans community, captioning his initial response to the Supreme Court's ruling earlier this year with "trans rights are human rights." The same issue is proving fractious within your party. Whilst both of its presumed co-leaders have released broadly positive statements, Gaza independent and founding member Adnan Hussein has begun to put forward internal opposition along his socially conservative views. In a tweet published on August 29th, 2025, Adnan agreed that your party should not parrot neoliberal gender ideology and that women's rights and safe spaces should not be encroached upon. As it stands, the Independent Alliance, which is set to become your party, is bonded by its position on the war in Gaza and its opposition to the Labour government. This will likely become an increasingly fragile relationship, as its conservative Muslim voters, responsible for their election, and your party's young, overwhelmingly LGBTQ+ friendly support base are expected to throw their weight behind one party with one policy. It is a straight choice for Corbyn and Sultana on which group they decide to alienate, and it is not a circle anyone would envy them having to square. Another side note, with Hussein's anti-abortion views, he would seem to be a likely thorn in the side of his new Progressive Party. It is hard to see him, Corbyn and Sultana getting along under one roof for much time. Instead, it is Zack Polanski and the Green Party who will be looking to capitalise on this weakness. Whilst his party has had its own internal debates on trans issues, it has also now provided him with an overwhelming mandate, though it is worth noting that the party's rules will require Mr Polanski to face another leadership election before the UK's general election in 2029. Considering the strength of his current position, anything less than another landslide would be highly disappointing. So, considering your party's weaknesses, there are genuine reasons for cautious but genuine optimism for Polanski's Greens. But we've only really discussed the beginning for him. If all goes well, and he does rise from the turmoil to become the de facto voice of the left wing in British politics, he will then have to undertake the significantly harder challenge of winning over the British public. That will involve convincing not just traditional Labour voters, but also those floating voters in the middle who have the most sway. Without them, for all his progressive ideals, Polanski's legacy may well be Nigel Farage in number 10 and the end of net zero. The fate of the Green Party is therefore a high-stakes game indeed.